My name is Ulysses, but everybody calls me Sonny, and we're always looking for the next level of guitar playing. But how would we know if we got there? Do we even know where we are now? We're going to be going over the different phases and levels of guitar playing. There is going to be a table of contents in the description, but I'm going to highly suggest that you watch the whole video so that way you have context. And let's go over the first phase. The first phase of guitar playing is people tell you to shut up. Now, they're not actually going to tell you to shut up. They're going to do it in their brain. And the reason why is because you sound bad. And you know you sound bad. And the reason why you sound bad is because you don't know what's important and what's not important. You don't know what to do and what not to do. By the way, the most important things for a guitar player are right chord, right time, strumming, everything else. Once you start to get those under control, you start to enter phase 2. Now, after you've been practicing for about 2 months, for about 15 minutes a day, you have been doing that, right? You start to enter phase 2 of guitar playing, which is people tell you to keep going. This is good because you'll be playing somewhere and having a good time, and then you'll put the guitar down, they'll go, no, keep going, play something else. And it makes us feel good. That means we're doing something people like, that means we're being successful in what our goals are. This is fantastic. Now, this could actually have some bit of a backfire because people start to make requests, right? Hey, play this song, play that song. Or they'll start to talk to your ear off about whatever it is that's going on. The reason why they're doing this is because they think you're cool and they want you to think that they're cool too. So they're trying to gain some sort of even ground, which is totally fine. Take that to whatever you want to. But then the third level, that's where things get interesting. Phase 3 of guitar playing is when people pay you to start, and this includes teachers. This is great news because people are so interested in the way you are playing and thinking that they are willing to give you currency, something they worked hard for to get you to start. Now, before we start going over the levels, I want to go over a particular explanation first. Although we keep using the phrase next level, I want you to think of all the techniques and ideas more like a pyramid. Every technique that we're trying to learn is at the peak of a pyramid, and that peak is based off of the foundation or the fundamentals of whatever it is that we're trying to learn. So the more we understand our fundamentals, the broader the base is going to be, and the higher that pyramid can go. Now, another issue is that each one of these techniques are going to be approached differently from different genres. Jazz, rock, country, and classical are all approaching chords in completely different ways, and we have to make sure that we understand it from that point of view. So although we have our pyramid built in jazz over here, it does not necessarily mean that it's going to translate over to country that extremely efficiently. So make sure you have your fundamentals down first before you start to ascend to whatever is technique that you're trying to learn. Beginner guitar players should be concentrating on 2 things: chords and strumming. Let's look at chords first. How many open chords do you know? How many bar chords do you know? How many power chords do you know? And can you get to them comfortably? All of the genres of music are going to be communicating to you as if you know these chords. And they're going to assume that you know how to manipulate them based on the genre that they're in. So the way a jazz player plays an A chord or approaches an A chord is different from how a bluegrass player plays an A chord. But this also leads us to strumming. There are a lot of different strumming patterns. And are you comfortable with the strumming patterns in your genre? Are you comfortable with all the time signatures in your genre? And this is where people start to falter because they're basing it off of more the mechanical way of playing it more than how it feels. Pay attention to how your strumming pattern feels, and you're going to notice that your playing sounds and feels better. The more you concentrate on chords and strumming, the more likely you are to leave the beginner level. I totally forgot you guys need to learn how musicians communicate to each other. If you're in the jazz or classical world, you're going to need to learn how to read standard notation. It makes it clearer to understand how the other musicians are thinking and be more descriptive on the chords that they want. However, if you're in the pop, rock, or country world, you're going to need to learn how to read chord charts and tablature, and it's because it's based around speed more than it is clarity. So, if you're going to be in those worlds, make sure, are you reading the right tablature and chord charts, or are you reading standard notation? The intermediate level of guitar playing is where most people stop, and it's because they can already play the things that they want to play. There's no reason to go any further. This is also where most of our YouTube guitar teachers are actually at, and the reason why they're here is because it requires so much more time to practice. It used to take 15-20 minutes to make some progress. Now it's going to take a lot longer. The reason is the complicated concepts and ideas that we're going to be discussing And it's going to seem like we're making up words as we're going. And we're literally learning ancient Greek as we're going along these particular ideas. We're going to have to learn all of our scales, all of our keys, our functional harmony, our chords, chord coloring, our extensions. We're going to have to learn how the genres differentiate different things from each other, and all the particular techniques that go inside each genre. This is going to take a long time to leave, and people get frustrated and stop, which totally makes sense. However, as you gain more control over these ideas, you're going to notice that you get more enjoyment out of playing songs, because now you can concentrate on expressing yourself more than just following blindly what's on the page. Now, I'm going to really stress here that you become very careful on who and where you're taking lessons from at this particular point. Because remember, if the teacher that you're at is at a particular point of a pyramid, you can only go as high as they can. In fact, my opinion is you can only be a certain level underneath them, because they don't have control over these concepts as well. Is it bad? No. Just gotta make sure that you do your homework. The advanced level of guitar playing now has to deal with the manipulation of what it is that you're looking at. So for example, I know that the chord that I'm looking at is functioning as a dominant chord, but how many different ways can I change that dominant chord on the fly and in every key? Can I also explain this to another musician who is not playing my instrument? Can I play with a person who is not on my level and make them sound good? Or can I keep up with people who are above me? This advanced level of playing can get nerve-wracking, but for those of us who are on this level, we're actually having a really good time doing this because we enjoy the challenge. That's why we're up here. But things start to get crazy because now we start to split ourselves into two particular groups. As guitar players start to advance, I notice they start to separate themselves into two different groups. There are losers and there are no lives. Let's talk about no lives first. No lives have no life. All they do is play guitar. They lock themselves in the closet and practice. They try to absorb as much information as they possibly can. And it gets kind of weird because as they start to come out of the closet of the guitar playing, they start to not talk about guitar playing. They'll talk about everything else but guitar playing. They'll talk about, what I've noticed is cooking, sports, and politics. That's pretty much it. They don't want to talk about guitar because they've been doing it for the past 8 hours and they'd rather do something else. Now this is different from losers. Losers really want you to know that they are a guitar player, and they will start to talk about everything, and they will also complain about everything. They'll give you opinions that you've never asked for. They criticize stuff all the time. They are constantly about themselves. Losers care about the prestige that comes with the guitar. No lives care about the guitar. And I really want to stress to you that you find someone who is a no life when you're trying to learn guitar. And the reason why is they're going to obsess over making sure that you can catch up to their level. The loser will try to make sure that you always look at them in awe. So, do not become a loser. Have no life. The last level of guitar playing is not human. These people look like humans. They are not humans. We're talking Ted Green, Guthrie Govan, Greg Howe, Alan Holdsworth, Sean Lane. These people make no sense in their playing. They are so good, they make the loser no lives look like beginners. And that's who you should be studying the most. Those are the people we are trying to reach, because hopefully, as we start to approach them, we develop our own levels of playing, our own way of expressing ourselves. But there's one particular concept I want to go over before we finish the video. One idea that I hope you understand before this video is over is that it doesn't matter what your playing level is. What matters is that your audience understands and empathizes with what you are playing. I call this the Jimmy's High principle. Jimi Hendrix was the most influential guitar player of all time. He influenced countless amount of people to play guitar and countless more to copy his ideas. Jimi Hendrix wanted to take his audience on an adventure through sound and music, and he did that extremely well. And this matters because all the songs that we're trying to copy from Jimi Hendrix, more than likely, he is high when he wrote and performed them. So don't take these things so seriously. He isn't trying to impress anyone. He's trying to make sure that you feel what he's feeling. The second most influential guitar player of all time is Eddie Van Halen. Eddie loved playing guitar. He would lose track of time with how much he was playing. When you were in the audience with him, you could feel the same amount of joy that he felt while he was playing. Why does this matter? Eddie's drunk. He has no clue what he's doing. Yes, he had some techniques, but he's drunk. He can't get that crazy. Okay, so the third most influential guitar player of all time is Taylor Swift. How many girls around the planet started playing guitar and songwriting because they understood and empathized with what Taylor is saying? Don't concentrate on how great your technique is. Concentrate on your audience understanding and empathizing with you. Hopefully this video gave you some guidance on where in the world you should be in your guitar playing life. If you have any questions, concerns, comments, or death threats, or have something you want me to go over, leave them in the comments section below, and hopefully I'll see you next time.